we're going to talk about something that you deal with all the time. And you tell me that, people come to you and there's layoffs at work and all of a sudden people have to retire early and all that kind of thing. Well, there's a lot of companies right now that are trying to avoid all that. So they're saying, how can we cut costs without laying people off? And one of the things that we're finding around the country right now is companies are temporarily suspending their match in their 401k. So let's get into our audience's head and shoes here for just a second, because you're 62 years old, you're on the glide path to retirement, another 3 years or so, maybe 4 or 5 years, you're going to do it. And they take away the one thing that you're there for, and that is that 401k and that match. So if somebody comes in and they're in their 60s and they're kind of thinking about retirement, should they move out of that employer 401k because you're not getting the match anymore and move that money over to a brokerage account or something that's more under their control? Are we missing something here? Yeah. Should it be time for me to go over to the Roth because I have enough tax-deferred money? Lots of questions. How do we deal with this one?
Yeah, lots of questions going on there. We end up having this conversation a lot with the children of our clients who they're not just entering the workforce, but they might have been in the workforce 5 to 10 or 12 years. And discussion we're having with them to try and prepare them for retirement is, hey, you're not going to get the same deal your mom and dad did. Right? This is going to be more and more on you. And if you don't basically empower yourself to take your retirement planning into your hands, there's not going to be a pension there for you. There probably will be Social Security, but they're not going to get it at 62 or 67 or anything like that, very likely. The problem you see with these sorts of things is once they pull it, it's like, well, kind of, things are tough, we've got to pull it. And then it just never really comes back. And so you mentioned, should we move the money out of the 401k? A lot of people don't realize this, but most 401ks, once you get to 59 and a half, you can stay at your employer, keep contributing to your 401k. If they have a match, you still keep getting the match, but you move your balance out of the 401k. A lot of people aren't aware of these options that are available to them. Should you keep contributing? Should you not? Should you do a Roth? Should you move it out? What's your situation? It's all going to be dependent on what's going on with you. But the bigger thing I'd like people to take away from this is looking at being responsible for their retirement themselves, because no one's coming to save you with this.
Yeah.
It's just not right. Pensions aren't making a comeback. If anything, they're on the extinction list. 401ks don't seem to be getting more generous. This sort of thing is going on more and more, right?
So would you look at this situation and look at somebody and say, okay, you've got a nice 401k here. It's time to stop putting money away in the tax-deferred bucket because you're just compounding your tax problem later in life. If you still want to contribute, if they have a Roth 401k option, let's move the money over there or move the money into your own brokerage account. Does there come a point where you say, you've got enough tax-deferred money, we need to move elsewhere?
Yeah. Compounding the tax problem is definitely a discussion that we have. It comes up a lot. Even if you do your Roth contribution, if you are getting a match that's going into the pre-tax side anyway, is it at a point now where, hey, we want to retire, we've got a bit of debt. Is it more financially practical to redirect that money into paying off debt and improving our cash flow when we retire? Maybe that's the thing that we can do. Does it make sense to move money from the 401k out into a brokerage account somewhere, a brokerage IRA account somewhere? Every 401k is a little bit different, but the vast majority have very few options, right?
It's kind of limited,
Yeah, you might have 15, 20 options, and then 7 or 8 of those are actually just target date funds anyway, which are mixtures of the others, right?
Yeah.
And is now the time to look at, hey, let me get out of this restrictive environment to a degree that I'm in with the 401k. And as I'm preparing for retirement, open my options up from a couple dozen to hundreds of thousands.
Right.
Is that likely could be a conversation as well. It's all about getting ahead of what's coming up in your retirement.
All right, there was a kind of famous survey that was done back in the 80s, and they asked people to rate their own driving skills. 93% of them said, I am an above-average driver. That's mathematically impossible. That can't be. But that's what they said. They had a very high opinion of themselves. Okay, fast forward to this last year. A study was done asking people to rate their skills on how they could plan their own retirement. 67% of people were confident, I can do this on my own. Sometimes perception is not reality. Okay, so I get it. There's enough information out there for people to do this and the do-it-yourselfer. That's cool. That's fine. But, what would somebody miss? What are the common things? Somebody comes in, and I know you tell me sometimes people come in just to find out, get a pat on the back, say you're doing just fine. Well, what are the things that you say sometimes are glaring errors that they missed on the do-it-yourselfer?
If somebody is, do-it-yourselfer, we kind of have a bit of a rule like, hey, good luck to you. Like, we don't want to try and change your mind. Like, the worst thing is trying to work with somebody who thinks they can do it better, right? I was reading something about Jeff Bezos and like kind of how he built Amazon. And he talks about, hey, when you're making decisions or you're deciding what to do, look at if this is a one-way door or a two-way door, right? If it's a two-way door, go in, do it. No big deal. Doesn't work out, you can come back, right? No harm, no foul. If it's a one-way door and the repercussions of those actions could have unchangeable consequences, be much more careful. I would think retirement is a one-way door, right? Like if you go in there and you make some mistakes, you may not be able to recover from it. I think I've shared this story with you before. We had a lady, this is like 10 years ago. She came to one of our events. She attended and she chatted with me like very briefly after. And she said, yeah, like I want to come and talk to you at some point. I said, okay. And in the meantime, she set an appointment, canceled it, set an appointment, canceled it, finally came in. I didn't really know what was going on with her, like what the hesitation was. Maybe it was just busy, life got in her way. And it wasn't that. She was embarrassed about what had happened, right? She'd retired, I don't know, a year or so before. And she came in, she said, I don't think you can help me with this because of, it's already happened, but, I at least want to talk to somebody about it and see, just do the due diligence I should have done before. So she'd retired. She had about $1 million in a 401k. And her dream was always to have a beach house down on the coast here. So she retired and paid cash for her dream beach house. Where do you think that cash came from?
I'm guessing her 401k.
Yeah. And so it comes from a 401k. And side note on that, right? And she kind of mentioned this, unless this is kind of where the real problem lies. And I don't know if she's even realized it. It was her brother or her neighbor or somebody who considers themselves a financial expert was telling her, hey, you can buy a house in your IRA or your 401k, which technically it's true. There's a way to do that. So she went and bought it and didn't put it in an IRA or anything anyway, right? Just took $500,000 out. And so with your 401k, they're going to withhold 20%. And so she was like, oh, well, yeah, like they're withholding. Well, she did this the same year that she retired too, right? Like towards the end of and so she's got her and her husband's income plus 500,000 on top of it. Well, 20% is not going to be enough. So she goes and buys the house. And so it's not until tax season that she's got this 6-figure tax bill.
Yeah.
And well, she doesn't have a couple 100,000 lying around.
So she took it out of the 401k again.
Where's she going to get it? Right. So they withheld. And again, it wasn't enough. I mean, it wasn't as bad the next time. Right. But she still, and so, this house, this $500,000 house cost her, I don't know, 600,000-700,000, like wipes out most of her 401k. And she said, I hate the house. I hate it now. Cause like every time I'm there, this is what I'm thinking about. And I mean, she was right. I couldn't help her.
Yeah.
Like what am I going to do?
What's done is done.
Right. What's done is done. Those are the sorts of things that if you just had someone to talk to about it, they might be, hey, you can do what you wish. Just be aware the repercussion is this, this, and this. And you might want to think twice about that.
We hear it all the time. Do-it-yourselfers are really focused on investments, but they sometimes are not even thinking about taxes. And that can come back and bite you. You can move your money forward 10, 15%, but if you lose hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes, where does that get you? Okay. Let's talk through this. If I know there are some do-it-yourselfers out there right now that are listening to us because they're wondering, do I have all my bases covered? The one thing that you don't want is 5 years into retirement and get a big tax bill and go, what happened? I didn't see this coming. Let's give you that view of what's coming. Let's sit down and run your numbers for retirement. And at no cost, no obligation, let's get a look at this. Retire210.com is the website. You can start right there, tool around a little bit, learn more about secure financial management. Jay's book, which is Wall Street's Game, is right there at the bottom of the page. You can download a chapter there. If you come in for a meeting, we'll give you a copy of the book. But it's time to talk about your retirement and get the nuts and bolts done.